bar.
That extra gear, the first 3 steps.
Huge strides in the performance.
That I might not be the player I am today.
Today, how's it going, buddy? Michael Hauser's with us today, and anyone who's checking in or joining in, thanks for joining the live today. We got Mitch Stewart with us, obviously, and then we got Michael Hauser. And Hauser, how you doing, buddy? How's everything going? Has the last month of your life been a bit of a whirlwind, or not too bad?
It was really just like 2 weeks. It was like it all happened so fast. I basically played my first game, like I found out that day. So then like that whole week was pretty nuts because I played four games that 1 week, the last week of the year. And then I went down to Rochester the week after, and we had Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I played all those too. So like,
no way.
Yeah.
Holy.
I went from none to 8 games, and I think it was 13 days from the time I played my first one in Buff. So it was just like so much hockey, and then I just came home, and I've just been hanging out here for the past 10 days now. So it's been nice to I guess recharge a little bit. But yeah, those 2 weeks were pretty crazy, but everything's kind of settled down now.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. For those who don't know, where's home for your house? Like where do you kind of set up?
I'm from Pittsburgh, so we live like 20 minutes north of the city. There's actually we came and played in Pittsburgh when I was playing that last week, and the practice rink, we had a day off, had practice Friday before our last game, and it's like 5 minutes from where we live. So it was actually pretty cool. Like my brother came over and watched practice and stuff. So it was actually pretty cool. Yeah.
Cool. How long were you up in Buffalo prior to that first game? I was trying to follow, and I know you were up there for it looked like a while.
Yeah. I signed in mid to late March, maybe like March 20th ish, like somewhere around there. And I went up like 2 days later. And I was just on the taxi squad the whole time. I ended up like I backed up just from guys getting hurt or like emergency backing up or whatever. I backed up I think 5.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I had at least like been there. I was still like practicing every day and stuff and like seeing the shots. So I mean I had been caught up to speed and all that. So at least I had been. It's not like I was, the third goalie in Roch and then went up to Buffalo.
Right.
And started.
Yeah, totally.
Totally. Shots. So, yeah. So I was.
Well, and man, like, how's your story is like, it's legit as in like, you're a legit goaltender. It's one of those things where you've worked your tail off. You've been a very good goalie in the AHL and like that close all the time, like that close to just making that jump. Right. And then things happen, injuries happen, whatever, and then you get that opportunity and get a chance to play, and be a starter. And it's like, I don't even know what that would be like. So I want you to kind of explain, like, what was it like when they said, hey, like, we got some injuries, obviously. You probably kind of saw the cards coming through as far as, man, somebody else went down or somebody else played like crap. Yeah. Like, so what was that like getting that call or getting that, hey, you're starting tomorrow?
Yeah, it was morning up. So
no way.
It was morning up.
Yeah, so we were in Boston, and I was on the taxi in Boston, and then the young kid, like Ukko Pekka, was playing. Yeah. He got hurt right at the end of the second period, so I had to go down and toss my gear on for the third period. I don't know when you're like the third guy, especially like this year, there was a rule that if somebody got hurt, your third goalie who had to be at the game had to go put his gear on, but couldn't go out to the bench ever. So I did that. Like 3 or 4 times this year. Guys got hurt. I did that. Yeah, it was crazy. It was just like a couple. Like
so you're just sitting in the room.
Yeah, you just sit with like the video guys that are cutting people like looking for offside. I like watched it. I watched like 3 or 4 games with them, but like some of them were early, like first period. So I'm kind of nervous because I never I don't know. After like the first couple times, I got kind of used to it. But yeah, and then after the game, Ticker then hurt Tokarski, who went in for Ukko. He hurt his neck, so he was like really stiff. We had a day off the next day. I saw him around the hotel. He said he was stiff, but he was going to be good to go Monday. I thought like we played Monday and Tuesday, so I thought I mean, if he's a little dinged up, maybe he plays Monday, but they might not go him back to back. So I was thinking maybe Tuesday. And then he showed up to the rink and he was like just stiff as a board. So they told me like maybe 20 minutes before the meeting, they were like, your game tonight. So like it was kind of nice. Like you didn't like, because I wouldn't have been able to sleep the night before. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
totally.
was super nervous in the afternoon. Like I couldn't sleep in the afternoon, but I wouldn't have really expected to. So,
Yeah.
So I mean, the rest of the day was, I don't know, it was just tough to get the heart rate down, but it was better, I think, to know just morning of versus night before in that circumstance.
Yeah.
Now, this question kind of came up a couple weeks ago with like, and you're talking about nerves. What are you doing before a game like that to try to get yourself ready to hop out on the ice? Like, do you have a routine that you're trying to follow?
Yeah, I do, but like at the same time, I hadn't played in so long. So if I like felt like I was a little nervous, maybe just go out and like a couple more like movement patterns and warm ups and like push a little bit harder and just like get like the jitters kind of out of your legs. But
Yeah.
at the same time, like I wasn't worried about like my eyes and my hands because I felt like I'd been seeing enough shots. I was more worried just like making sure I can get through 60 minutes because there were some times in practice, especially because like both goalies went down the same day. So it's not like I was even having my full, like a whole net for like a whole practice ever. I was like mostly the third guy, and you have to like basically work in whenever one of the other two guys get out of the net. And then after practice, you got to stay on and like, but sometimes like practice would be over and I hadn't seen a shot yet. So I was mostly worried. I mean, I'd been doing stuff off the ice, obviously, like I had to, but like nothing can like simulate how hard a game is sometimes, especially your first one. And like, but you know, like you just kind of get through it off adrenaline too. So
yeah. For anyone that didn't see it, it's a hell of a game. I was on the edge of my couch all the whole time. I was so fired up.
Yeah, like how's it like? You know, when we've been fortunate over in London, obviously a bit of a hotbed. Mitch and I both have been fortunate to work with like a lot of you guys, and for those who don't know, like Michael's, Hauser's been with us for a lot of years on and off, with coming from the States and training with us and stuff, and it's been a big part of being a part of the pro group and all that kind of stuff. But man, anytime I get a chance to see a guy get his first game or get his first season or whatever, I'm so excited, honestly. And then when this happened, I was like, oh man, like this is so, and I always think of it as a player's perspective. Like this, I've never played in the NHL, but I'm like, this is so cool. Like just to be the guy. Now you're the guy. And goalie's like a pitcher to me. He's on the mound by himself. You know what I mean? You're kind of the spotlight a little bit, right? Like such a cool thing. So to echo kind of what Mitch said, it was like, man, this is so sick. Like, yeah, it was unreal, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was really cool. I'm glad that I went out and won a couple, like, you know what I mean? Just because you hadn't played
in a shootout too, like
in a shootout,
that was pretty.
Well, yeah, and I've always been like pretty good in shootouts throughout my career. So it's just like you always like because I watch so much hockey. You always think like I could have made that save or like I could have won that game, and so it's just I don't know. It's nice to know that
to be out there
and like I can go out and win a game or. Like keep a team in a game or something like that. So
totally.
That was really fun.
No, for sure, man. I had a question that I was going to ask actually, but I'll throw it out. This is from Julian Stubbs, a young guy. Actually, he's a kid from London, really, really good kid, like great player. Plays for Elgin. But he said, how big was the jump from the AHL to the NHL? So as a goalie, because we always talk to players about this, right? Like, what's the biggest jump as far as going from playing in the AHL as a player to the NHL? And it's the speed, it's the passing, it's making good plays, it's all that stuff. As a goalie, and I've never actually honestly asked this question to you, so thanks, Stubbsy, because like, what's it like for a goalie making that? Is it that much of a jump, or is it just not too bad, or the shooter's that much better? Or
like there's guys that can definitely shoot the puck in the American League for sure. I think the real high end shots like Eichel can really shoot a puck. These are just, I mean, I've been in NHL training camps before, so I've seen, and I skate with the guys in the summer, obviously, but so I've seen plenty of NHL shots too. But that's the one thing, just like the real high end shots, you notice like they like snap, they they can basically pick them inside the post. So it's like that combination of both of them. But I guess there wasn't. I guess this year there might have been a little bit bigger of a jump because most teams were trying to keep their American League teams really young. But for the most in a normal year, for the most part, there's so many guys in the American League that have played in the NHL, so they know the speed, like the way the teams are breaking out is similar. Just guys one-on-one, they can do more stuff with the puck. So you have to always be ready, especially after, like, even when it's in the corner, a guy can beat a guy one-on-one and come to the net pretty quick. So, but shot-wise is the one thing that I noticed. The real high-end shots are really, really good, and then all four lines can shoot the puck really well too. So, like, you always have to, like, there's no shifts off ever, especially at least like in the four that I played. Like the fourth line, like the Islanders' fourth line is like really good. That's what they're basically known for, is their fourth line. And then Pittsburgh was super deep, so they had just got Kotkaniemi and Malkin back, so they were really deep too. So you basically had to be ready for all four lines. I think that was the biggest jump too.
Yeah. Hey, one thing I was going to ask you, as a goalie, like, we always talk about players and how I think deception's really a big part of, like, elite players, right? And when you look at the NHL, there's a lot of players that are very deceptive, like looking off a pass and shooting and things like that. For you, like, going from the OHL and playing 9 years ago, now you've been around a while, you played a lot of pro games. Do you find that deception has been increasing, like getting better for the players? Like, do you find guys are hiding shots more, guys are like getting shots off quicker, or guys are being like even like a little bit of a tip of the blade, like looking like, opening their blade up and then firing it? Like, are they doing more of that stuff to try to throw goalies off than 9 years ago? You know what I mean?
For sure. Like, I gave up a goal when I went down to Rochester after Buffalo, and a guy had it was a bad goal. Like, it was not a great goal to give up, but the guy was just like coming down and did like a stutter step, but kept going forward. So like I kind of stopped, and he like just stuttered, but like kept going. So it was like, and ended up shooting and beating me. But it was like stuff like that. Just seems like guys are like way more creative now.
Yeah.
They're not selling things,
but they're not like just beating guys with shots. They're beating guys with like their footwork and stuff too that they're doing, and they're able to control the puck with it. So I think like seeing some of that stuff is pretty cool. And I mean, guys are like always working on stuff like that after practice, just like messing around. And then guys have so much confidence now. It's like, it's crazy how much confidence they have. So especially when they know that, they can try those things and they have that kind of leash. So it's, I don't know, like seeing the high end stuff, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, for sure, man. That's awesome. Thanks, Stubbs. That was good, buddy. It was really good. Really good question. One of the things I was going to ask is, like, you're a competitive dude, man, and I know, like, in the summers, guys like you and Kegger like go at it, like, and Greg McKegg, who's in Boston, and you guys go at it, and I love it. Like, he'll score, he'll give you like a little fist pump or a little, and then he'll be like, "You're brutal, you suck." How much of that kind of stuff though, like, kind of elevates the practice for you? Because I know when I used to play, I had a couple goalies that I loved. They were good buddies of mine, and we get into it in practice, and it was so fun. I think for them as well. Like, it never really crossed that line where we wanted to fight each other, but it was so much more fun for me in practice to go down on a J drill or some crappy drill, knowing I'm going against Hauser and I'm going to light him up. And you're like, oh, man, here comes Blazer,
Yeah. And try to score and like, try, like you can't I can't be like doing that, especially in a drill where there's like 3 shots or something, 2 or 3 shots coming. Really? I can't be like going like that every single rep. At least like you pick your guys, and like Kegger can pick a spot and stuff. So it's just like, I don't know. And then we like golf a bunch and stuff like that. But he's a good guy. I just knew that he was a good guy, that he'll always want to be scoring on me. So it's not like I ever have to worry about him just coming down and like throwing a puck, and like I'm really like on it and trying. He's like always trying to score. So but yeah, it definitely helps practice, I think. And then if you get into like small area games, like that's where like it's really, really fun, because then like everyone just wants to win, especially especially like we're all like buddies in the summer too. So like you want to win going to the golf course. So But yeah, I think, like, our group is pretty competitive, I think, in general.
Yeah.
Which is it definitely makes it more fun too. But yeah, it makes everyone better.
No, for sure, man. One thing I was going to ask too is I know that this has been brought up before in other interviews and stuff like that, but I've seen it firsthand, so I want to address it. But you were like, let's be honest, you were kind of behind the eight ball as far as being an NHL goaltender when you were born. You know what I mean? Like, and you've got, obviously I went through surgeries and all this kind of stuff, and a bit have club feet. And if anyone was, I remember one of the first times I ever saw you at training camp with the London Knights way back in junior, and you were working out or something, and I was like, I had a buddy when I was younger, way back, that had club feet and had like braces for a bit, and then got rid of the braces, and so I kind of was aware of it, and I didn't say anything. Obviously, you were drafted by the Knights. You're gonna, you had potential. But how was that growing up though, as far as just being like, a bit behind the eight ball on things, and then honestly, like if you're 10 years old, someone's like, there's no way you're ever going to play elite hockey. Like, come on, just like pump the brakes here and get on a bicycle and go have fun with your buddies. You know what I mean? So like, what happened there? Cause you went through obviously, some surgeries and things like that when you were young. And then all of a sudden, you're an athlete, like, cause
yeah, I think, and that might be kind of what it, like, I was always pretty good for my age, like as a goalie, even growing up, like in squirts, I think I was pretty good. And then Pee-wees, I started playing AAA. So I was like pretty good there. And then I ended up playing in the USHL when I got drafted. I played really well for a year for Little Caesars. So I think after that, like, cause Detroit minor hockey was pretty good. So I think after that, I ended up getting drafted in the USHL. So it was just like, coming up, I knew I could play, but you never really know until like juniors and then beyond. But so my feet were I really never thought about it until kind of like, I guess, like draft time, about just because I knew like teams want to do physicals and stuff, and they asked about it a bunch. So even now, like I've been with Buffalo the last 3 years, so I haven't really had to explain it there. But before, I was still going to NHL training camps and stuff, and I would always just explain to the.
What would they ask?
They would usually ask what process they use, because I guess now with club feet you can just cast it. Like I had surgeries when I was younger, but you can now just like cast your feet. So then I think it basically like puts the bones where you want it to. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but
something different than that. Yeah,
there's a way to fix it and not have surgeries. But so they're always interested to see like where the scars are and like the incisions and stuff like that. So, but yeah, other than that, like they never really bother me. I mean, Mitch has seen me train, and I think
zero hesitation on it and anything. Yeah, no.
Other than like, jumping a little bit, maybe, and running, and like I've never been a great runner because of it, but I can still go like short bursts, and I get my conditioning just other ways other than running. So, and
I've seen you run 2 miles though.
Yeah, and
back in the Knights days, they were doing it still.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not like it's not like I can't. I just know, like, and they don't. It's not even like they hurt me after. I'm just like, no. It's just like that's just the way that they are. So
mechanically, doesn't feel great for running.
Yeah, but like on the ice, I don't notice your foot's like locked in a boot. So like I tie my skates tight, and then like I don't feel it at all. I just push around, and like I don't know. Like I think in my stance a little bit more, I get into my hips maybe a little bit more, like maybe hinged over like a little bit forward. So I'm just in my hips, but like after I go down, I'm not even going up. I'm just kind of like staying in the same spot. And then like my lower body is kind of like pushing down. So really, I mean, skating, it's the thing I work on the most is my footwork, because I know that, again, like you said, I'm probably like just a bit behind the eight ball, just physiologically, but like I've known for a while that that's the thing that I need to work on the most, and it is like I love it. I do skating every day, so
what? How's it? It's one of those things when like you're born with whatever it is. Like I was born short and bald. That's a deficiency. I mean, no, you're born, you're born the way you are, and then it's like, yeah, like I think that's one of the things that makes you who you are. You know what I mean? Like, you got to become like. Well, I was joking with Mitch too. I'm gonna ask Hauser, like, how often was he chirped, man? Because like in locker rooms and like you come in,
I get it, and like it doesn't really bother me because like it like I don't know. I have tried like everything in the book to like, well, like Mitch knows like those. Like I tried to like strengthen my feet and stuff, and I've tried like I've tried like the barefoot stuff and all that, and like I've tried basically everything to do it, and like guys chirp me, and it's not. I really like it doesn't really bother me. I've acted like it has before, but it really.
No, but it's something you're always working on, and I know that, and even just like mobility overall on the side, I know it's something that you're text me once during the year, like it's
because like I can't do anything to get them like much stronger, but I can always just like make sure that they're moving. So you know what I mean, make sure they're moving and make sure they're like stretched out and stuff. So I try to do that more than I do. I mean, I still try to get them like stronger. I just don't know how much more room I can work on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's great, man. And what were your parents like growing up? Like, were they pretty encouraging about hockey and like go do whatever you want to do and just kind of supported you the whole time? Were they hard on you? Were they pretty easy going with you?
Yeah, no, super easy going. Like I played a bunch of sports growing up, but I was always I was always pretty good for my age as a goalie. And then when I started playing AAA, I started playing pretty well. So. Like I ended up moving away, like my choice. I wanted to keep playing. I really wanted to make the national team, USA, when I was like 13, 14, 15 years old. That's what I really wanted to do. So I ended up going and playing for Little Caesars when I was in 9th grade because my age group for AAA here didn't have enough guys. So a couple saw.
There wasn't even a team then.
No, like Sod and Johns and
really?
And then even like JT Miller, who's younger than me, they all played after we were Bantams our second year. They went and played under 18s, like midget major that year, like their OHL draft year that would have been. So I didn't make the midget major team. I was 14 or 15 at the time, but I didn't make it. So I was like, well, I want to keep playing AAA. Like I want to keep playing against like good players, and I really wanted to just try to make USA. So I ended up playing Little Caesars, played well, and so I was always like, but I lived with my mom's sister up there, so
she was already there.
Yeah, they lived in a suburb of Detroit, so I went to high school a couple minutes away, and I ended up getting I ended up not getting picked for USA, but I ended up getting drafted to the USHL, which led to kind of coming to London then from there. So it all worked out well, but it was really always my decision. Like they always let me do what I wanted to do hockey wise. I just always wanted to play like just highest level I could. Like I always wanted to make sure I was playing a little bit, but I just always wanted to play highest level really.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm going to throw another question up here. This is from Dylan. This might be Mitch. This might be Searles. This is another young guy, maybe from London, but really good kid. Plays AA. Awesome kid. Works his tag off, man. But he's basically, and this is the question that I was going to bring up as well. Not this, but similar to. But like, how are you able to stay focused on making it to the NHL and spending time in the minors? And for you, how's he played 9 years pro? He played a bunch in the AHL, obviously a little bit in the ACHL, and then got that opportunity. But I know I played pro, and it is a grind, man. There's times in the season where you're like, hey, I could probably go home and get a job at the bank, or I could do this or do that or whatever. Did that ever sway on you? Were you always just like, I'm playing, I don't care, I'm going to play as long as I can, or were you did it mentally weigh on you a little bit?
Not really. I've never really thought about doing anything else or not playing, I guess I should say. I've thought about doing other things, but I've never thought about not playing hockey when it comes time to play hockey. It's just, I think something that helps too is when I was like I think back on how I was when I was like goalie wise, hockey wise, when I was 21. Like I turned pro when I was 20, so 20, 21, 22. I think around like maybe 24, I think I started feeling and like seeing in my game like I was like getting better, and it might have just been physically maturing a little bit more, something. But I started feeling like I was getting better, and then I think really the last 3 years, I've each year I've still feel like I'm getting better. So no, it's never really been a thought that I wasn't going to play. I've always been fortunate enough to like I've always had an American League deal that at least like gives you that kind of opportunity that you want to, even if you're in the coast as a fifth guy, there's always an injury that could happen and you can go up and that would be my chance, because I really haven't before this past year I haven't really had starts in the American League, like given any starts in the American League for like 4 years. So like that was, but I've always been under contract with an American League team. So I just figured eventually I'll get my chance. Like it has to work. Like I've always been signed. So it's not like I was like on a coast contract and I'm hoping to get called up.
Right.
I know like every year I'll get called up because somebody gets hurt. I just have to make sure like if I can get in there that I got to play well. So I've always kind of been thinking about that. It was weird how this happened this year, but yeah, I've really just always thought about getting ready for the start of the next season.
You know what, man? Go ahead, Mitch.
I was just gonna say every off season too, just for anyone listening. I know Hauser's always a guy coming in and he's got a good idea of the stuff that he wants to work on, and he's obviously thought about his game, thought about where he wants to improve. I know there was even a time where so Hauser can put on muscle pretty easily, especially in his upper body. So that's the type of stuff we talk. We come back and be like, we need to just make sure that we're working, making sure not putting on a ton of mass. Essentially, there was one off season where we were doing pull ups fairly frequently. You should have seen this guy's guns; they were friggin' huge.
I was so good at pull ups; it was crazy. I was
and his arms were like
really necessary.
Yeah, yeah. But every off season, I feel like like you said, your first year of pro was at 20, and I think you're still learning your body and everything so much at that point. And I think it was probably right around then too, where you're coming back every offseason, you have a little bit more insight as to where you wanted to focus on and what you wanted to improve. I know there's hand-eye coordination stuff we've done different things for, and you've brought that stuff up. Like it's you play a very active role in your development, which I think for any young players listening, I think that's just incredibly, incredibly important to pay attention to your game, your body, and have some insights on how you want to improve. Gives a lot more purpose to your training, a lot more purpose to your development, and keeps things interesting.
Yeah, that was a good example. Like I wasn't really introduced to like vision training until I was 24 or 5. It was one of those like my 4th or 5th year pro. So, and I've been doing it like pretty routinely since the past 3 years. My first year signed with Rochester in the Buffalo organization, we had under contract a vision training coach that would come and work with. There were 2 of us in Cincy, 2 in Roch, and then 2 in Buffalo, and he would like come down, but we would have to send him like weekly workouts, and we had gear and stuff. This like big wheel that you would follow with your eyes and like these glasses and stuff. It was awesome. It would be like 45 minutes. You had to do it once a week, but it was like it was awesome. You'd be done with it and everything would look like it's in like HD, and like you would just be like so dialed. So I would do it the night before the first game of the week. And then that's just like kind of what I've done. I still there's like a computer software because he ended up not coming back with the team. So I still do like the computer software probably once a week.
You just put it on any laptop, like any computer. Yeah.
Or
cool.
he sends you like a CD-ROM and then you download it to your thing. Yeah. And I've done it.
No floppy disks.
No floppy disks. No. But yeah, he texted me a couple weeks ago, told me congrats, but he was like, he was a good guy, but that kind of stuff, unless you're introduced to it, you would have no way of knowing that could help. So, because like your eyes are a muscle, it's probably like the most important part for a goalie. So those in your hands and your feet, obviously, but it's like I'd never really done much hand-eye before, and then since then I try to do it as much as I can. So like things like that, like I would have never known when I was 23 or whatever, and if I never would have known now, like I think those kind of things have really helped me. So yeah, you definitely don't know it. Definitely don't know it all when you're 21, 22. So I am glad that I kind of stuck with it a little bit.
And I think that's one of the things though too. Like as a young pro, you kind of take things for granted a little bit, and then as you get older, you're like, okay, like I got to dial it in a little bit. And then for you to say though that you're continuing to get better, I love it, man. I think that is so important, and you're finding new ways, right? Like whether it's mental performance or it's eye training or it's dialing in with your strength coach or your goalie coach, like you're just looking at ways to continue to improve your game. And right now, I mean, you're seeing in the NHL, you got these guys that are pretty elite at old ages, right? Like you got, even some of the goalies are 30 plus, right? That are like elite goalies, right? So I think it's great, man. It's so good.
Yeah, I know. The hand-eye was the big one for me, that I knew that I can always get a little bit better. I'm still not great at some of the drills that we do that he would send. So, and then I see some of these other guys, like I've been partners with Ukko, and then Jonas Johansson's in Colorado. I've been goalie partners with them the last few years. These guys can juggle like no problem. So I just know like, and they can catch pucks on the ice. So I think those are two things that I know that I could always do. And you're right, just like little things in the summer when you start to get to know what works for you. It's nice, but it's things that you pick up over time.
Oh, for sure, man.
Totally.
Yeah. Going over like goalie part and stuff like that. There's another question here that popped up that I'll read out to you, but like it's from Jim Gorman, but he's like 30 years ago. It seems like butterfly style was a choice, and now it seems like a lot of goalies are taught to play that butterfly style. Like, any idea like why that happened, or what's like, I guess, what's the reason of that? Like, because you're right, like most goalies do, even as a as a skills coach, I'm talking to shooters. I'm like, if you're going, post to post on a goalie, you're probably gonna have a goalie coming down on a butterfly, so get it at least up over the pad, right? So everything's kind of flopped down more, obviously, in the last years, but. Do you know any reason why, or has it evolved for you as well as a goalie? Like, have your coaches over the last bunch of years been changing your style a bit?
A little bit, but like goalies changed a lot since it was like stand up to butterfly, and that was just simply, I think, because the net is only 4 feet tall, so you don't need to stand up and be as tall, and it's 6 feet wide, so you need to be as wide as you can, and that's how you get as wide as you can while still covering the height. So, but the last like 10 years, I think about how I played when I was in like juniors, especially how you go into the post and all that. Like, you can never go into the post with your lead pad flat to the ice. Now you can. Now that's like the only way guys go into the post. So right. So stuff like that has changed so much over the last, I'd say, 10 years. But now I used to think like, which goalie, I think NHL teams still really want to see a really good, technically sound goalie that skates well and all that. But I used to think that was like the only way that you can make it to the NHL. And I think that's something too that I've realized over the years, is that like, you just have to keep the puck out of the net. So if you have if you have to come across in the splits, you come across in the splits. Like, you can't come across like upright the whole time and hit you in the chest every time. You just have to. So I think that's something too, is like Mitch knows, like like most goalies are pretty flexible, but like I think like a little combination between like flexibility and athleticism is like a way that I can keep like big scoring chances out of that. I'm not always going to come across like upright and super square, but as much as I can. But I think that's something that I've realized too, is just like it's gotten goaltending's got a lot more athletic, versus you won't see many guys just like going down like real solid and just block. And you'll see it the odd time if a guy's like 6'6", 6'7", but for the most part, you need guys that can skate, because the play happens so fast. I think skating is more important than like being really, really technically sound. You need a guy. I mean, you need both to be elite, but I think that's something that I've realized over the past probably 10 years is that now that guys are zipping pucks so fast across the zone that skating and reading the play is more important than, making sure that it's perfect movements and that, you're always in the middle of the play and that it's really technically sound. You just have to, and then I think stuff around the crease, you have to, it just comes down to competitiveness too. So I think that goes hand in hand with the kind of just battling and being athletic when it gets down there. So I don't know. Goaltending's changed a lot over even just since I've been pro, with especially how guys play close shots and off-angled shots. So that's something that I've noticed.
It's really good perspective too on the obviously to be at an elite level you need the technical and the skating, but it's something I've heard from a lot of young goalies and the goalies coaches that coach them is that they almost get too absorbed with the technical pieces that they end up being behind a play, or they're just because they're so focused on the movement and the technicalities, which obviously is important.
Yeah.
But something you alluded to there that I think is really important is that reading the play and being able to move with athleticism is equally, if not in some cases, maybe even more important.
Yeah. I think you almost have to get skating and then shooting separate. Like you need to work on your skating for sure. I think that has to be like structured and sound and like really like patterned, I guess. But after like shots come, like plays are never like that in hockey. So you have to make sure you have, especially like I think goalie coaches have gotten so much better that you need to have like more competitive drills for goalie drills, and they've done that. So like you keep your skating like to kind of patterns and more like A to B to C, and then you keep drills more, I guess like a movement pattern into the shot, and then after the guy gets the puck, like anything goes. So that's just kind of the way that it's kind of gone too.
And I mean, as a player too, like I had so much respect for goalies that battled. You know what I mean? Like even in practice, man, when there's a scramble or like a rebound and they just give up on it.
Yeah.
I mean, the next 5 shots are going 5-hole, just like, and I don't care if you stop it or not, or or we're all gonna miss the net. Like I want a goalie that battles, man, and that is like your players will push a guy out of the way in the crease, or they'll fight a guy because he bumped into you. Like those are ways for them to show respect. I think for goalies, the way to show respect to your teammates is like you're a worker, man. You're in this too. You're gonna battle. You're gonna scramble for saves.
Yeah.
You're gonna, you know what I mean, and practice a little bit too. I know practice you can't do every single puck, but it's so huge to see a goalie just, and a goalie that battles, and a goalie that's lazy, right? So it is so huge to see goalies that battle. I love it.
Yeah, and you don't want them to think that you're not like that you're just like slacking off either. So and that's kind of been just because I've never been like obviously the big prospect or anything like that. So I have always had to like kind of be the worker in practice, and I always feel like I play better like the harder I work too. I'm not like I'm not that talented that I can't be like working hard and I can just like pick pucks out of the air and stuff like that. Like I kind of always have I kind of always have to be like on top of things. So I don't know. I just always play better when I work hard. And you're right, I think guys do appreciate that for sure. Like when you work, they'll come down and like try to score and like you want that. You don't want them to like. You don't want it to think like you're just making like easy saves either. So
but even like, I mean, you've had plenty of time, skate with the Black Aces or playing on the taxi squad, and like, so how much, like, I'm sure you've had this for guys like, hey man, thanks for staying out, or hey, thanks for taking extra shots, or you're in Buffalo's practice and like both starters leave, the 1 and 2 leave, and then you're there taking shots for another half an hour with some of the guys, and I don't know, man. When I was, I just think that is so important for goalies, and you can easily leave the ice if you wanted to, but just sticking around doing that kind of stuff, I think it just builds your resume as a player. You know what I mean? Even if you're in the OHL or the NHL or whatever, right?
Yeah, guys do appreciate that for sure. It is tough to do. We didn't have a problem with any goalie staying on after. I feel like all of our guys always wanted to take more shots, especially Ticker. Ticker loved taking shots, but it is like after, like, if you're in, practices, especially this year, were so short that like you could always stay on and take extra shots even if you did have your own net in practice. But like a normal year, if you got like a 45-50 minute practice and it's tough, like I don't. Like, it is tough to stay on after, but being a third guy this year, yeah, guys like loved it. Like guys love when you stay on and do like extra things because like they can sit there. They're not. It's not. I mean, I don't know. Really, you guys would be able to answer better. I can't imagine it's that hard to sit there and just take one timers the whole time. But like,
no,
if you like jump in there and then they'll go and play like 2-puck or something. So like they're not gassed, but it's just like they love having a goalie in there versus shooting in an open net. So yeah, I don't know, guys do appreciate it for sure.
Oh, definitely, man. So yeah, it's awesome. I got another one here. This is from and Hauser. I think you're pretty familiar with Jason Vance Bronson with he's running his own thing now, but he's a goalie coach, obviously. But he's like, what kind of what have been the most like the one or two most important goalie related skills, like mental or physical, doesn't matter, that's helped you to kind of continue your play and then playing pro that you would pass on to a young player, so, or a young goalie, I guess. But as far as just, yeah, is there any physical or mental things that have kind of helped you? And even thinking back, like if you talk to yourself at 13, 14 or 12, 13, 14, 15, like what would you tell yourself now?
I would say work on your hands and your eyes as much as you can, like catching things and hand-eye stuff, and then work on your skating. I think your hands and your feet are the two, and I consider your eyes going with your hands, but your hands and your feet are the two most important things in my opinion. The mental stuff I think kind of comes with more experience. Like you're going to get shelled for a game. You're going to, like, things happen. I think the more times that those things can happen, it's like, you know how to handle them, because you're going to have one where you get pulled and you go back out and have a shutout. Like that's going to happen. The longer you play, it's bound to happen. So after you know that you can do that, then it's basically there. So I think mental comes with the more that you do things. I think, physical, especially as a goalie, I think your hands and your feet are the most important things. And it's not necessarily like just on the ice, just sitting there and blocker save after blocker save or glove save, like just like doing other things with your hands, like what, I don't know, like golfing or something, or playing catch, like anything that you can do with your hands, and then, I mean, feet, like playing other sports, like kicking a soccer ball around, and then obviously the stuff in the gym that you have to do to keep your footwork up. But those are the two biggest things I think for a goalie is hands and feet.
Oh, it's funny because a couple of weeks ago, someone asked a similar question about goalies, and I said that basically what you just said, with how important it is to just throw a ball, throw a basketball, throw a baseball, catch different objects. So I'm pretty sure you probably weren't listening to that. So it's fantastic to hear you say that you've
like the more that you
felt the same,
like. In the picture, like you got to like move your glove like around, like you're gonna have to do like different angles. So the more like I don't know how. I think this might be just like goalie school stuff more than anything, but like you watch like Finns and they can like always like scoop pucks like off the ice,
right?
Like, so
totally,
instead of going like far side stick save, they're always like scooping things off the ice, which is like, it's just something that I never learned to do, so I don't even try to do it. I just get my stick on it, but they're really good at that. So, but like anything like around here, I've been like more comfortable with catching, like the more that I do it, just because I'll do like tennis ball drills and I'll end up like catching something like this. So it's just like, it's a reaction too. It's just like, you're still playing a sport, right? So like things happen, you have to like just do what you can. So sometimes you're kicking a leg out, sometimes you're throwing just like a shoulder up, but you just know that like I have to get something on this. And I just think the more that you do like things like that, like the one that I try to do a lot is just like with one tennis ball just against the wall. Mitch, you've probably seen this before. Like you just like go close fist and you just like try to like punch a tennis ball and keep it up like against the wall. So like it gives like the reaction ball kind of like unexpected bounce like off your knuckles, and you just like try to keep it up like that. Like it's tough, but and like it falls all the time. But like the more that you can just like keep it up like that. I don't know. And then like you can go like open hand and stuff like that, but it just helps you react and like for kind of unexpected things that happen.
Love it, man. I'm gonna go try that tonight after this call. I'm gonna go do that one.
Good luck. It's tough.
Midday. Yeah, maybe not at this time.
Get the headlamp. I'll put the headlamp on. I'll bang it out. There's another question coming in. Just like we're like, I guess one thing we talk about a lot of players is, surrounding yourself with good people, right? Whether you're 12 years old, 13 years old, 14 years old, like whatever it is, a coach, a skills coach, a strength training, whatever it is. But when did you kind of start taking that really serious as far as like, okay, I want to make sure I got a good strength coach. And how did you find the people around you that you like a goalie coach, a strength coach, things like that? Like,
Yeah. I mean, you never really know. Like, you just meet so many people in hockey that
for sure,
like, you just find the guys that you like. So like, I've had a bunch of different goalie coaches that I never really consider like one being like my goalie coach or anything. Like, I have different guys that I would love to work with like tomorrow, but I'm just not always around them. So I have like 2 or 3 that I would say like I would go and like I would really like want to listen to, but every team has their own goalie coach now, and like they're all good. Like, they're all like really smart guys. So I don't know. It's like really fun. It's just fun to get like new information from all of them. But yeah, you find, especially like player wise, I think you find the guys that like work hard, and because I think I've grown. I think I've always been a hard worker, I think, but I think I've grown a better work ethic maybe over the past maybe half dozen years, just from, I don't know, being around like all got like I'm around Kegger a bunch, and like he goes to gym all the time, like skating, Bo, and like those guys. So it's just being around that group, I think, helps. And then you find, your trainer you like, your goalie coach you like, and everything. And then, things happen, things change. Like that was awesome that you guys got that app up this year. That was awesome. But like things like that happen. But, you have your guys that kind of like Mitch knows me best. He knows,
and you kind of trust him, right? Like, you trust that he's not I
wouldn't like, I don't even know how I would like approach like a new trainer kind of at this point, just like having to explain my feed and like all that stuff. And like Mitch knows like the exercises I do, and like he knows what I like. So it's just like, it's like way easier to just like always like be there. And I think it's like way more beneficial too, that I think the more that you're around people and you can build those kind of relationships, then they get to know you better. And I think it's, pretty mutual there. I think it helps both ways.
Totally, man. Go, Mitch. Yeah, go.
I was going to say, last offseason was an interesting way to go. Like, Hauser's been back in London pretty well every year since you were with the Knights, which is quite a few years now. And then this last offseason, we had to do everything through a training app. And I think at that time, even like you were a little bit restricted on the type of gym and the access you had to equipment. So we were working on that a little bit. Whereas right now out there, you guys are you pretty wide open in Pittsburgh? Yeah. The gyms and everything. Yeah. But that did work out well with the app for sure.
Yeah, that was perfect. That's like, that's what I'm going to end up doing for at least the first little bit here. Is the gym open there for you guys or not?
No.
Is it not? I know like you can golf there now, right?
Yeah, just as of Saturday.
Yeah, we just got golf though. It's honestly it's brutal.
It's insane.
I can imagine.
It's insane. Yeah.
Oh my God.
We were looking at the States in a year ago saying, oh my God, they're popping off. It's going to be crazy. Now I'm looking at the States and like, I want to move there.
Yeah.
Like we're in lockdown. Like you can't get ice. You can't go to the rink. Kids can't play soccer. Can't play hockey. Can't do anything. Like it's nuts.
Like nobody is skating at any of those sheets.
Zero. 4 pads at the Western Ferry now with ice, sitting there getting cooled. No one's skating on them.
Oh yeah.
When have you like heard rumblings when people are going to be able to start skating or not?
Yeah, like July 26th, man. As of right now.
Oh really?
We're working on getting the pros and like some Hockey Canada athletes and things like that going, because there's exceptions for like, elite athletes and whatever, and pros, obviously, because some of these guys have camps coming up in July with development camps and NHL camps, and they're not going to skate. Like it's actually unsafe, right?
I know. That's why like guys are like asking if I'm like planning on coming up, and I'm like, I don't know, like
No,
I know it's like it's definitely not easier finding ice here. Like I have to search like not much harder, but like a little bit harder, and I can't like skate like basically. I mean, there's so many guys that skate, and they're like like you said, everyone wants a goalie, so like I can skate. I can basically choose the days that I want to skate there, which is unreal, and they're always guys that can shoot it. So just like. So that part of it is so nice. But yeah, I've like I don't know. I mean,
it's
there's
wild,
no ice.
Well, wait and see in the next week or two, and then if we get ice for the pros, I mean, we may be able to get ice and have some small groups of 5-6 guys, or whatever. So there may be opportunity for sure, but and that's one of the things too, though, right? Is like trusting your trainer, which you just talked about, which I think is huge, and trusting that, because the other thing too is. We see this, and Mitch has seen this, where someone's been at a strength coach for 3 years, and there's like not a lot of gains, and they've had like 4 injuries, and it's like, well, some of these injuries are just flukes. Some of these injuries are because you're not prepared. So one of those things where trusting them, but also that you're getting gains, and you feel good, like you're moving the right direction. You know what I mean? You're not like, I'm big and bulky at camp. That's great, but I can't stop a puck. Well, that's not really that good. You know what I mean?
I know, and and. That's something that I think, like, I've realized too, is like, you got to make sure that, like, you have to keep working out during the season too. You know what I mean? Like, it's awesome that you work out in the summer, and that, like, everybody comes to camp in shape now. It's like, because you know that you have to, but if you don't work out during the season, then your body's obviously going to be different at Thanksgiving. So it's just, I think, so that's something that I've noticed. I think, especially the last, like 4 or 5 years, I've like really started trying to at least work out during the season, or at least try to feel strong. So if you can't do it like every day, then like one day a week you can do like a leg workout during the season. Just find where you're not playing the next day. And I think that's just the way that I've always felt stronger, and then I always feel a bit faster on the ice too then. So I think that
for anyone,
go
ahead. To say for anyone on that note too, I think like a big drawback for younger players when it comes to training in season is they have a mindset as to what weight training and strength training is like in the off season, and they're like, I couldn't possibly do this in season. But it's not the same. Like, in season training is not and should not be the same thing as in the off season. Like Hauser just said, I mean, if it's one day a week, and honestly, in a lot of cases, 1 or 2 sets of something in the 80% ballpark is enough to get some good stimulation on your nervous system and maintain a lot of that pop and strength. You don't need to be doing 4, 5, 6 sets of exercises and waking up the next day with sore legs when you're in season. But it is equally as important that you're doing those workouts that don't make you sore in season to maintain and feel good. And for a lot of younger players, honestly, they can still make tremendous strength gains in season without being sore after every single workout. So it's just it's really important that I think younger players especially understand that it's not the same. Like, off season, in season, both important, but not the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I think and I think that's a great point, man. Because I agree with you, Hauser. I think during the season it is so important to do something. Like, just stay with it and find a routine that works for you. Whether it's bodyweight workouts or it's going for a run or it's, whatever that is, doesn't matter, but find something that works for you. And if you do trust your strength coach, then you're going to get some good workouts for you that'll work for the season, and you'll get a good, opportunity to know what you got to do and figure that out. Right. So.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. We had a really good routine in Roch this year. NHL, it's like a little bit different, not really with the taxi guys, but the other guys from the season, they were playing every other day, so it was tough for them, but they would still like find a way to get their lifts in, like after one of the games, and then maybe the next one was a day off or whatever. It was just like they always found a way. In Roch, it was nice. You just assumed that you were doing something basically every day that wasn't an off day. So even if it was, like Mitch said, 2 sets of just like accessory work, like every day that there was something, so you just knew, like, I would be in the gym like every day after I got off the ice. So like guys started kind of
doing something.
Yeah, and some days it was 2 sets of 2 exercises and you were out in like 5 minutes, but you just knew check what I have to do. And then guys, they almost like brainwash you into thinking like, okay, like, what am I doing today in the gym? Like, you just know that like I'm in the gym after practice. Like, guys just like go there like almost like mindlessly, and they like look at the workout. So it was kind of nice. You just get into like an unreal routine. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, totally.
Well, man, that's great.
Yeah.
We'll shut it down here in the next 5 or 7 to 10 minutes or whatever. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to fire away if you're listening. But one thing I wanted to ask you too, you talked about opportunity and just like that, getting that chance to play. And I know I was talking to Griffin Luce this year, and I had him on my podcast, and I was like, and he got his chance in the AHL, whatever. But he got his opportunity in the AHL because Jacob Bryson got called up to Buffalo, right? So it's just kind of those like that kind of fact, right? Where it's like, oh man, that's so cool that like great that Bryce got up to the NHL and then Griff got into the AHL, which is wicked, But for you too, it's like there's a lot of things that happen as far as guys getting injured and they're going through a bit of a rebuild in Buffalo, obviously. But what was that like, kind of going through that, even mentally as a goalie or as a player, just as being a part of the team, but seeing what's going on at the big club and be like, holy shit, man, there could be opportunity here. Like this, does it play on you a little bit, or you just kind of wait?
Yeah, not really. Like I got there. I think it might have been like maybe 13 or 14 of the losing streak, and then I think we lost a couple more, and then we won. And then it was like we did start playing better after that. But I was just on the taxi squad anyways. So, and it was my first time ever getting called up too.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been in the NHL for an extended period of time before, so I was just staying in my own lane. But again, like still going out and like trying to work as hard as I could in practice, because I don't know, maybe someone notices something, or maybe someone does get hurt. That ended up happening. So I was just kind of focused on my own thing, and you couldn't really do anything either. So that's really all you had, was just to go to the rink, sometimes stay there for as long as you want or can, and then go home, try to recover, and then go to the rink the next day. So I was just kind of like in that mindset, and then guy would get hurt, and then all of a sudden I'm backing up now for, I don't know, a week maybe, and you start thinking maybe I might get a game, and then guy would get healthy. So that kind of happened a couple times, and then they both got hurt in the same game. But I think that was part of it too. It was just I kept staying as ready as I could for if that did happen. So I think that helped for those first couple for sure.
Oh yeah, it's all like, but it's also being ready for that opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Because realistically, like if you go in first time ever getting called to the NHL and you spot them 7 in the first period, or in the first 2 periods, like that's a different story, right? Like so for you to go in and even like one of the losses I think was against Pittsburgh, was 1-0, was it not?
Yeah, it was 1-0. Yeah, but we got and we lost 8-4 the game before. So like something like that, like I was pretty happy about, just like
totally
the way that you could like bounce back and stuff like that. Yeah. And I ended up doing it, and I did it in Raj too. I lost 5-3, and then came back the next day and we won 2-1. They gave this guy a penalty shot with 30 seconds left. I was pitching the last game of the season.
And it's still at 2-1?
And he scored, and we won 2-1, yeah. So I was like, that was the last shot that I saw this year, so
great.
Yeah. But what are we talking about again?
Just about like you get that opportunity, but being ready for it, right? And obviously, I think you want to perform, man, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what it always would have been awesome, no matter what, just to play a game and say that I played a game. But I really I knew that I really wanted to win, and I think that. I just knew that you can get like that picture holding the puck too, and like all that. So it's like everything that goes along with it. You always just it's cool to say that you played, but I really wanted to say that I went and like I was in net and we won a game. So I think that's a pretty cool thing to say. But yeah, about being ready, it's just like as long as you the thing that I noticed too, just with not having any fans there, it felt like a hard team practice, like as hard as you can get. Like guys are running each other, but that's what it felt like with no fans there, and like just it felt like a hard practice. So I think as long as you practice hard, which I've always done, or at least I feel like I have, it just kind of felt like the same environment. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Were there any games with fans in any of the?
I played, in Pittsburgh had fans.
Pittsburgh did have some fans.
I think they had like 5,000 maybe. Yeah, they're up to like I think 10,000 now.
Yeah, you're right. I think they're 9 now.
Yeah, they had like 5 for the 2 games that we were there. It's like my family was able to come, which was awesome.
That's nice. Yeah,
yeah, but exactly, like you go and you're like, just because I had seen so many games without fans too, being on the taxi squad in Rochester. So then playing in front of fans for the first time, it felt like a packed bar, and there was 5,000 people in there. But it felt
loud and
loud, exactly. Yeah, just
that's
like
awesome.
The real noise and the real energy. It was like it was cool. It was cool that it was in Pittsburgh, but it was definitely a lot.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, listen, House, I really appreciate coming on, man. This is awesome, and tons of wicked information for young goalies or even players. Just I love working and just staying with it, following that dream and pushing. I love that. I love the whole story, man. It's so awesome. I don't know, Mitch, if you have anything that kind of finish off with, or if you want to say anything to finish, but
no, it's great to see. I mean, it's been almost 2 years probably now since we've actually seen face to face, even through a screen. I guess this is better than nothing. So we'll be in touch though. In touch soon. It was great to chat.
Yeah, I'll call you. Maybe tomorrow or the day after. But yeah, we'll talk.
Sounds good.
And how's I guess moving off this? What's next for you? Like, what are you like coming up off this year? Are you up on a deal, or are you still have one more year on your deal?
No, I'll be a free agent this year, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, kind of wait and see what happens, right?
Yeah, it's exciting knowing there, could be at least an option. At least I know. Like, it's nice to know at least you're back on the NHL radar a little bit.
Totally.
So I think that's nice, and it's nice to feel like show teams that you could play and you could go up and win a game if needed. So just those things are exciting, but I don't think I'm not sure even really what to expect at this point. But it's definitely, I don't know, it'll be exciting for sure. At least, I was thinking like 2 weeks ago, I was talking with my buddies on the taxi squad. I didn't know if I was going to have like a blank spot on my hockey DB. I was like, I was still on both teams. I just hadn't played a game.
Oh, right.
It's like, no way. I'm like, it's going to be either blank. It's going to either have zeros, which at least it would be like Buffalo and have zeros, which wouldn't look bad. But then, or I thought maybe they would just take it off and it looked like I didn't play the whole year. So I don't know. It all happened so fast.
COVID.
COVID. Yeah. Seriously.
Just been taxi across it.
Okay, so like just real quick though, in case people didn't catch this, but like you basically got signed to the A, but then got bumped up to the taxi squad. So you never really played much games. Like you didn't play any games, right? You were just practicing.
We had played, I think, 8 games in Rochester by the time I signed, and then got called up like right after. So Uko played 6 of them and Ticker played 2 of them. So it was like, and they were
no stats. Like you had no stats. Like you had no.
I had nothing.
Yeah.
So then I got called up, and then like guys would get hurt and stuff, and I'd like see this, and then, I knew that if I was in Rochester, I'd be playing, but they want to do like Uko's very good. He's 21 or 22 now, but he's very good. So they wanted him playing instead of just sitting on the taxi squad. So I kind of took that job for a good chunk of the year. But yeah, it was just like the timing of like all the injuries that happened. It was like whenever someone was getting healthy, someone would get hurt, and then I'd back up a few in between, and then as soon as that guy was getting healthy again, somebody else would get hurt, and then I'd back up a few more, and then it was just like the whole year. It just seemed like that was happening. Where like I knew that like and then Uko ended up coming up to play, but both Hutton and Linus were both hurt at the time. So I knew like if one of them were healthy, maybe I'd go back and play in Rochester. But it was just like there was tons of guys hurt at terrible times for them. You don't want to see like anyone ever get hurt. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was just like
You
I didn't
kind
have
of
any
got-
stats for a while.
You got stuck in the matrix. You're in the middle, like you're in the matrix. You're just like you couldn't.
Yeah.
Get
It
One
was so
spot in there.
weird. Yeah, I went backed up and then would go back and then backed up and go back. It was just like the whole year. It was crazy how it would work. And then you'd be watching the games and you'd see a guy like go down awkward and you'd be like, oh, is that his knee? And then like sure enough, like it was never just like a day or two. It was always like weeks, and like you hated to see it, but it was just like that's just how it went like the whole year it seemed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, totally. Hey, one other question too for you, and no specifics on this, but I'd heard that so you're playing let's just not you, but like a player's playing the AHL makes AHL money, obviously. Players playing the NHL makes NHL money. What does a player in the taxi squad make? If they're on a one-way, do they make NHL money? Obviously, if they're on a two-way, are they making AHL money on the taxi squad?
Yeah, you make your AHL money on the taxi squad this year, and it got worked out with the PHPA. You took like guys in the American League that aren't on NHL one ways that are making their American League money. They are on NHL two ways. They were taking a reduced salary in the American League. So like when I was down in Rochester, I was on an American League deal, but I was taking a reduced salary that was worked out through the PHPA and the American League owners and that. So like that was just this year. But and then when you get called up to the taxi squad, you still make your American League money, but you get 100% of it.
Okay.
So that's what the difference was. Yeah.
So there were a lot of guys in the A that were playing on a percentage of what their actual contract would have been.
Like almost everyone. Yeah. There's a
No
minimum.
way.
There was a minimum. I think it was either a 30 or 40,000 minimum, I think. But so most guys were making that, because even guys on their entry levels that were making 70, I think it was like around half, I think. So it would be, if you fall under the minimum on your salary, then
it's a wild year that way. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So if you get called up, even though you're not playing on the taxi, you're making, I think.
Yeah, okay.
I think it worked out to be
I gotcha. Yeah, gotcha.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's good. Because we always want to make sure the boys are getting taken care of financially, you know.
Yeah. It's been worked out. Yeah.
Well, once again, buddy, man, I really appreciate it. This was awesome.
It was
man.
awesome to see you, Haz.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys. I'll talk to Blazer. Let me know about ice.
I will. I'll fire you a text for sure. I'll let you know if the guys are skating and you want to come up. Obviously, you're more than welcome. I don't think there's. Yeah, we'll see what happens as far as like borders getting opened up, as far as quarantining up here and stuff like that. But
that's the other thing too. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Hey, boys.
Cool. All right, good to see you. Chat soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Take care.
To kind of raise that bar.
That extra gear, the first three steps,
Huge strides in the performance.
that I might not be the player I am today.